Hi, I'm Mads, and ever since I was 5 years old, I've curated fake months. And it's time to remake them all. Join me to create the Hydonso region.
Last episode we went to the future, so it's only natural that we're going to the past this time. Kind of. We're looking at the fossil Pokemon. And like in most regions, we have two fossils. The Zoofossil and the Shovel Fossil. And don't worry, there will be some twists. So make sure to like and subscribe for more Pokemon videos. Let's start with a Shovel Fossil. So then we'll go back all the way to 2003, when I made this hairy elephant mammoth looking creature. And it got quite an update in 2005. As you can see, there is no shovel, but due to the evolution and what kind of Pokemon I wanted to base it on, it will make sense soon. This is Shovelefant, a hairy, sad looking elephant. And a shovel is actually a big tooth that sits on the end of its trunk. I wanted to be shy and awkward, which I think I pretty much nailed down. And it's obviously an ancestor of both the Phanpy line and Cufant line. The Cufant line also goes into shovels and more construction work, which this line goes into as well. It's more of the Asian kind. It will evolve into a Platybelodon, a shovel-like elephant. And you may ask, why does it look like a quote-unquote modern elephant then? Firstly, there are many types of elephants, and secondly, that is on purpose because of its lore and the reason for why it looks the way it is. So bear with me. Shovelefant, the proto-elephant Pokemon. Rock ground type. Ability Earth Eater and adaptability. Hidden ability Sheer Force. Dex entry. Shovelefant uses its shovel-like trunk to dig for food and perform many other tasks, making them quite intelligent creatures. However, they don't seem to adapt well to our modern world. For decades, people believed that its shovel tooth was the skeleton of Rupti. After DNA examination, it is now believed that Shovelefant is the ancestor for both the Cufant and the Phanpy line. Its shiny takes inspiration from its design from 2003, where its fur was more golden. For its name origin, it obviously means shovel and elephant, and the word fant referred to as kids and boys, and among many different meanings in Norwegian, it can be put in a way that is someone is a fant, can be referred to like rebellious jokesters, but you say it in a cute way. So what do you think about Shovelefant? Would you like it on your team? Maybe you want to see what it evolves into first. And just like with most fossil Pokemon, they evolve quite late. In this case, level 40. Giving you Excravafant. Also made in 2003, looking like this creepy elephant, and got increasingly more angry in 2005. Still no shovel, but you could argue that in 2003 it looks like it could have something resembling a shovel with its trunk. Let's see what I've done to it. Like most mammals, elephants too went through this period of time when they tried out different things, seemingly to see what was most effective. Platybelodon is one of those cases. When I first saw it, I was like, I need to make this into a Pokemon. It's just too cool and kind of awkward, which is perfect for a Pokemon. And yes, I took some liberties with its design, but I feel like you can easily see how it turns into Caparaja, or could be the ancestor of it. You can kind of say that the trunk kind of looks like the wheel that Donphan has, if you squint maybe. It's also obviously based on excavators. I had a pretty strong vision in mind of how I wanted it to look. I gave it some extra teeth, made it look a little bit more awkward Pokemon-like. I didn't want it to have too much in its design, but I ended up giving it kind of this dirt patterns, which I felt was necessary to balance out its purple-like skin. I'm kind of saying like, yeah, that's the part that wasn't really converted when it was reconstructed. But also because, you know, it lived in mud and swamps. Watch out, here comes Excravafant, the proto-elephant Pokemon. Ground fighting type. Ability Earth Eater and adaptability. Hidden ability Sheer Force. Dex entry. A bizarre Pokemon with incredible strength. It lives in swampy terrain, digging for nutrition at the bottom of the swamp. There has been a great interest among construction companies to help breed this Pokemon back to life. Though just a theory, some researchers suggest that this Pokemon didn't live in the same period as Shufflefant, but is the result of adapting to its environment, accessing even more ancient DNA. For its shiny, it takes inspiration from its 2003 design, and for its name origin, is the same font, but with the word excavation, meaning digging up or uncovering something, referring to the action it does with digging in the soil, but also being a fossil Pokemon. The word excavate also works, as in making something bigger than it is. So do you think this Pokemon is a big deal? Let me know in the description what you think about Excavant. And since you're down there already, what do you think about this whole line? Because I have more information for you. Remember, the theme of my region is integration and intervention. So in the case of the Shufflefant line, it's the integration theme that is present, because it accesses its old DNA to compensate for the challenges in its current and new environment, which is also why it loses its rock typing, because it's compensating and changing to its environment. Pretty cool, right? If this line was integration, the next line is going to be intervention, which is the Saw fossil. And this line gonna be based on this dinosaur from 2003 made by a friend of mine that I always thought was pretty cool, and it looks like a dinosaur saw. In my mind, I wanted the first evolution to be kind of like a raptor, just simple looking, inspiration from saws and swords. So the original Pokemon was actually called Dino Pig because it had a pig nose. But the way that I changed it is that what if they are fighting so much that they actually cut off their own snout, and that's why it looks like it has lost part of its face, just giving this Pokemon another dimension of like, yeah, they're actually fighting each other, you know. And talking about the whole intervention thing, I think the first sketch I had would be what it actually looked like to begin with. But due to human intervention, it changed slightly, becoming much sharper and blade-like. And again, then its face is actually a failed experiment because, you know, it cut half of its face. It has these X lines as eyes to kind of indicate that this Pokemon is, you know, not fully there. It's kind of dead. That said, it's kind of cute also. And I'm quite proud of the rendering of it and emerging between like its colors to look sharp but also like work with its old design. I like it a lot and I hope you do too. Watch out for Dinosaur, the Saw Raptor Pokemon. Rock Steel type. Ability rough skin and sharpness. Hidden ability strong jaw. Dex entry. Dinosaur used its saw to cut the bones of its prey. However, how accurate the reconstruction of this Pokemon actually is debatable, due to a recent project where its DNA was fused with molecules from chainsaws. It's a debated topic if this Pokemon used to live in ancient Hydonso or not. The shiny colors take inspiration from blades, but also its main body color that it had in 2003. What is your opinion on this cute yet terrifying Pokemon? And do you think that this Pokemon existed in ancient Hydonso? Let us know. And just like its counterpart, it also evolves at level 40. It's inspired by the same Pokemon, because at the time it didn't evolve. Chainosaur ended up quite different from where I first started. Originally I also planned it to be a raptor, but the more I worked on it, the more and more it ended up becoming a T-Rex, like what its original design from 2003 was actually based on. And I was pretty sure from the get-go that I wanted it to be a chainsaw, but it started out very cartoony and I was like, it doesn't really look like a chainsaw, I need to make it more refined. And I was stuck with the same pose for a while trying to make sense of it. And yes, there is some indication of blood on this Pokemon, but it can also just be its body markings, like in its original design. It's up for interpretation. But I'm kind of heavily applying that this Pokemon is in some sort of pain. You know, Pokemon is actually quite dark, and this one is no different from that. As you may have seen, he kind of lost its cool saw arms. In fact, he lost most of its arms, obviously to balance out its design. And now it kind of looks like the handles for a chainsaw. Then it'll become yet another challenge. How do you take a creature that looks so terrifying already and put a chainsaw on top of it and need to look somewhat friendly as a Pokemon? I don't know, what do you think? Maybe I did well, but it looks silly at least, which is a good thing when it comes to Pokemon. Here comes Chainosaur, the modified Pokemon. Steel Dragon type. Ability Rough Skin and Sharpness. Hidden ability Sturdy. Dex entry. The science experiment was apparently successful. As a result, the Pokemon Dinosaur evolved into a chainsaw body. This project suggests that it's possible to solve the petrification issue that comes with reconstruction of the fossil Pokemon. The moral implication of this Pokemon existing is heavily debated. Some even conspire, claiming that the experiment failed and this is the natural Pokemon. It's a brutal creature that takes down anything in its path. The shiny colors are based on the colors that we believe dinosaurs could have been, the reptilian kind of coloring, but could also be a hint to its original design from 2003, though a little bit more greenish tint to its grey coloring. What do you think about Chainosaur? Hopefully you like it, let me know in the description. So if it wasn't clear enough, this Pokemon is based on the intervention, so human intervening with nature, changing its DNA to make something else, which is why Chainosaur isn't a rock type but a steel dragon type. Cool, right? So that is how the fossil Pokemon are heavily inspired by intervention and integration theme of the High Dinosaur region. Which one of those two lines are your favorite? I do plan to make another fossil, kind of, later on. So which one do you prefer? Maybe you prefer both? In the meantime, here is a hint for an upcoming episode. What do you think it will be based on? So if you're a fan of ancient creatures, you might also be interested in future creatures, which is why you need to check out this video where I'm inspired by the Future is Wild documentary and create Pokemon out of it. Or if you want more dinosaurs, we have more dinosaurs in this video where I make Hoover and Dust Pokemon. So with that, thank you so much for watching and let's remake them all in the next video. Bye bye!